mean, I think it's been a great growing ground for some of these players. Why do you think that the German clubs, and in particular Dortmund clubs like that, but we've had guys, Weston McKennie go to Schalke over the years. Why do you think it's a good landing spot for them, and why do you think Germany really was the first, I'd say the first country that really looks differently at young American players?
Because I always said that's the same what I say, right? Like I look at it and I go and I say in the pool of the U18s and 16s up 19s in the US is you have kids. They're like built. They have kids. They have technique. There's a lot of kids, but you have to give them discipline because they're not no discipline in even if they play like in MLS with all this play, there's no losing. There's no winning. It doesn't matter. So if I'm already a super talent in the U18s, I'm normally playing in an MLS team, and so now if you make the step to Europe when you go to Germany, we start again by zero. That they're going like, move, like do your shit, be disciplined, be this. If you're not, go back. We talk about Reina, right? Like everybody says he's a super talent, he's a thing, but we talk in the national team, he's like this. He's good, he's not good. He goes to Dortmund, you cannot be like this. If you're like this, you sit on the bench. And then everybody's in America. I was like, why is he not playing? Why is he not playing? Yeah, because he's too much like this. They have too many players there like this. And then if a coach in Dortmund, he can pick, he says, okay, in America, yeah, he can play, then go back to MLS and you can do this, But if you're here in Dortmund, you have to be here or we have to see this. And so, like we take somebody like Christian Pulisic. He was like this. He went in, then he went to Chelsea. Then it was a little bit going down. He made the right decision, not going to MLS, going to Milan, and now he comes back up. So, but that means like he has to prove himself. He has to be mental strong to be like, you know what? I'm not take the easy road. I take the hard road, and I have to prove myself again. In Germany is always a place, and I can always say that for myself is because I grew up here is. They're hard on the people. They're hard on the kids. Even when I go watch the U16, 17, it's a lot of discipline. It's a lot of things. There's no left and right. It's like there's one thing we go in same clothes. There's same things. You be on time. You're not. You out. Like it's strict. So we know that. That's typical German, right? Everything's after paper. It's like there's no way for left and right. So in American kids, if you get them to do this, there's so many. And I said that every time when I was with the U19s. I said, man, from where's all these kids coming? Like so much talent and so much really. And then it happened, it won Benfica, Lisbon, Atletico Madrid. And I said, like, there's way more guys. We just have to help them to get them disciplined in the young ages. So, or we have to send them, what you said, send them to Europe somewhere where it's a pool of 10, 20 of these kids. So then you're not the special one anymore.
So Jermaine, based on where this conversation is going, I've got about 100 questions for you. But you posted something recently on social media that got me even more triggered, I would say. And it's about discovery rights here in MLS. And how does FC Cincinnati have discovery rights for Thomas Müller when Vancouver wants to sign him? And I've been banging this drum for a long time that this rule is ridiculous and it needs to go away. So a big smile came across my face when this story, when I saw this, because I feel the same exact way as you do. I don't know why MLS needs to make things so complicated all the time. Just make things simple. And I think it's not hard for everybody.
Yeah, but don't act like, Jermaine, you wanted to go to Chicago. That team was terrible. You knew you ended up in the right spot.
No, but it's like, but the reality is, the truth is that I remember in 2000, after the World Cup, nobody was calling, nobody. So the first guy who called me was Frank Yeller, and he was the coach of Chicago Fire at the time. He called me and he said, look, I want to bring you to Chicago. And I said, Frank, that's the only way how I knew kind of. Then I said, Frank, I have no agent. I don't know what's going on. Then I got a call from the league, and the league told me that I have to work with an agent. That was Rich Motzkin called me 2 hours later and said, okay, so I started talking with Rich, and he's like, yeah, you need a representative, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, yeah, I'm clear with Chicago. Everything is cool. I like we played there with the national team a couple of times. I know, everything is cool. It's crass, and I want to do it, And then he's like, okay, let me think about it. And then next day he calls me and he said, come to the office. And then I came to the office, and then he told me the story, what I said, like, that, hey, there's somebody on the speaker, and that was at the time was Don Gaba, and he told me clearly, look, we have an agreement with the Kraft family that the next US national team player who comes back, they get him. And if you don't agree on it, we cannot do it. And I said, that's kind of weird because I have not agreed. It's not me agreeing. It's like you guys agreeing. And my family is in LA. That's in, I don't even, to be all respect, at the time, I was like, I don't know where New England is. And then they told me, Boston. And, and then I said, okay, so what's the deal? And they're like, yeah, you have to go there or there's no deal. And then I said, okay, then I have to take it. And then I said to them, but how you guys really want to put that out there? Because the reality is, I agreed to Frank and I said I wanted to go to him. I was somebody, I tell my word. So I called Frank and I said, Frank, I'm sorry, but it looked like that I'm not able to come. And he's like, I got it. I heard already about it. No worries. And then the league put it out and said it's a blind draw between New England and Chicago. But I was already in the plane to Boston. So, and that's really the story. So when I saw that post, or the stuff with Muller, I was like, why are we still, like years now? This is, how many years that is gone and we still doing stuff like this where somebody is just buying some rights from somebody and then you have to discuss about like, oh, why does he even have my rights? I never played in the US. Like I never played for the teams. I get it when I played there that they can buy your rights, but why is somebody just buying somebody rights? So if I'm a rich guy, I buy from every player just the rights and say, oh, I want them to do it,
100%. So JJ, with this current U.S. men's national team midfield, now you look at a player like Johnny Cardoso, who just went to Atletico Madrid, but Yunus Musa, you got Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, Gio Reyna. You have all of these players. Now Malik Tillman, really. How would you set up this midfield? Now I want you to put on your UEFA Pro coaching hat. How would you set up this midfield, knowing U.S. soccer, knowing this national team, to get the most out of this team for the World Cup next summer?
Oh, it depends like what they want to play, right? Like if they play with 2-6 or they play with 1-6.
How would you play if you were the coach?
I think a lot of times back in the days we played always 4-3-3, right? So, but I think I would go maybe change it up and go maybe a 4-2-3-1 or something like that, and have, see who's the main guy with maybe Pepe in the top, then midfield, Adams holding guy who's can sit. Then I'm always love Musa because if he's safe on the ball, he's I think he's somebody who always need confidence,
and then now you're choosing between Weston, Cardoso, Tillman.
Yeah, but then it's already tough because I will maybe play in the middle, in front of that I will play Christian, and give him the freedom to be like, the 3, and he's the middle guy to be the freedom and can go because he's most dangerous going forward. And then you have some other guys. But at the end, it's like I'm always a person, especially now going into coaching, I would never make it, oh, this is my first 11. That's the luck what we have right now to go and look at what teams you play against, right? Weston gives you a complete different style than Musa. Musa is maybe somebody who keeps the ball, plays it. And Weston is somebody who attacks the box, comes late to the box, good in headers and good in that stuff. So Adam gives you a more solid sitting guy. It's all that stuff. So I think they all have their strengths, and I think I will always be like, look at the team I play, and then try to, play chess against the other team, to the other coach, and see, okay, what is really needed on our side to win that game? Because we're talking now about World Cup, and I think there's just game for game. You just go game for game. You look at, okay, who's fit. Who's the next team we play? Who fits who? Which player fits against who is on the other side? And then see what comes.
All right, Jermaine, we got to hear Charlie every day. What will you play? What kind of teammate was he? Give us something about Charlie as a teammate.
Oh God. You know what? Charlie was always a person, always motivated. Always. I remember when I came to New England, it was a time where he was really frustrated because he hoped that he can get a shot back to the national team, but I always felt like he was always hungry. He always come to training. He always was a good teammate, the fun guy
Look
in
at
the
his
locker
picture.
room. Yeah, and I love that. You know what I love the most is not only for Charlie, I think for the whole group, and I think Charlie can say something to that too. Is like for me when I went to New England, I felt like that people stamp or put a stamp on New England to be like, okay, they're not a good team. They will not do anything. They lost all the games before, and but then when I got there, we got a good atmosphere in the group. The group was fantastic, and I think that we made a run till to the final, I think speaks for themselves. That even guys, I think Lee became national team player. There was so many people involved in the process of coming to the 2014 or 2000. What was it? 14, the final, right? Charlie,
That was a
what was the
strong
final?
group. I can tell you that right now. That locker room was incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
we really came together, and Jermaine was the one who came in and said, guys, if you don't train the way you want to play, if you in terms of trying to get to a final, get to a playoffs, if you don't train that way every day, and I remember I was frustrated with a number of things within the club, but
So you can say it.
I think when you came, it was like everyone thought, hey, if we can impress Jermaine, we could probably get within touching distance of a national team call-up if we perform well and we impress Jermaine. And he played like he was in a Champions League match every single training. Jermaine was coming in tackling 2 foot, and it just spread within the group. So the trainings were so intense. But then we always we came together. We did everything as a group: lunches, dinners, movies, bowling. It was that type of vibe. So that's the thing.
What? It was a crazy part. Like the first time, I don't know. I think if Charlie that remembers, we played, and then we went on a away trip, and then they give us money to go get breakfast.
Per diem,
and I was like, what are we doing here? Like, we have to team prep. And they're like, no, we have to go over there. And then we go every time we go out and we sit there in the breakfast spot in the morning before the game and eat like potatoes and eggs and bacon. And I was like, that's actually pretty cool. but you know what it was too, and I think Charlie can say that was when I got there, and that was something for me completely weird, and I felt so uncomfortable. Was I don't know if Charlie remembers when we went on the first away trip, and we walked into the plane, and I see my I sit down and I'm sitting in the business class, and then I see all my teammates walking by, even the coaches, and everybody had to go economy, and I'm sitting in the business class.
Yeah, but you grew to love that. I'll tell you right now.
I was
in the beginning, you were like, "What the? This is weird."
Yeah, no, but then the truth is, since when then I was sitting in front, so I went because I felt so uncomfortable, because that's another thing, right? I don't know if they're doing it because now it's different. They have planes.
Yeah, everybody charters now. So
yeah. But back in the days, I felt so uncomfortable that I went to the Kraft family and I said, whatever you pay on that ticket, pay me that ticket to fly back home. But I want to sit economy with the guys. And I think all this small stuff pieced the puzzle together, that I knew that they will have my back, whatever I did, even if I had to go strong and lead, I had to say something bad here to somebody. But they knew that I wanted to prove something. I wanted to give back to the league, to be like, you know what? You put in a stamp on not only on them, even on me, because you put me here and say, good luck with what's going on over here. You guys will never make it, And I'll even say it. I make a bet if we don't have to make this double stop in Houston and all that stuff, what they did in the final, I'll make a bet we will beat LA in that game.
And what he's referring to is we had to take 2 chartered flights to get to the final to LA.
Yeah,
it wasn't like a smooth, and you had to get off the plane. It was like a crazy thing. But
not even get out of the plane, sit on the plane when the plane get tanked, like in the heat. And like I was like, what are we doing?
But Jermaine, you're a perfect example of the way a designated player should play and should act on and off the field for us. So do you think Thomas Müller could be that guy for Vancouver? And Vancouver has been flying this year, but what do you think he will bring to the league and to the team?
He will bring. In Germany they say he's a German guy. He's down to earth. He just loves the game and he loves his teammates. He loves he loves to challenge himself. He loves to challenge the people around him. He's somebody, you can see it even with the media. He's not a arrogant or anything in that way. Like he loves to challenge people. And that's when you even talk with people in Munich and they say to you, he goes in every game he plays, he wants to win. It doesn't matter, and if he's not playing, then he would do everything that he still wins his team, So, and I think he can be really a plus to Vancouver, where people can learn from him. When they're really, for me, it's always that I look at this and say, if I'm a young player and somebody comes in like them, I shut my mouth and I just watch him. And I ask questions if I have to, That's the way you have to do it. It doesn't matter if I hear like Messi comes to things or something. Just look. If I'm a young player, I just look because I have 2 years now with Muller. You have 2 years to learn and suck everything out what he learned in so many years in Bayern Munich. So, and I think he will help Vancouver. I think not only on the field, even on the outside, because how he is, he's a humble guy. He will do stuff in the community, and I think he will help MLS too. And I think it's a real plus, this guy.
Jermaine Jones, proper leader here on our hands. Now, this is your second time on the show. We've asked you about a jersey swap before, so we're going to pivot here. As someone that likes to get into a tackle, it's got a little bit of bite. We're going to add this to our tradition here for our second-time guests or third-time guests, whatever it may be. What is your most memorable yellow card or red card in your career? I have mine.
Ooh.
I got a red card in my last national team game. I didn't know it was my last national team game, but I went out in a blaze of glory, Jermaine. So I've got that going for me. What about for you? Is there like a proper tackle that you got into or you gave a nice tackle to a top player?
Yeah. We had the one I know and remember, and that's everybody remembers, especially here in Germany, is when we played the derby against Borussia Dortmund with Schalke. And at the time, Kevin Kroos, he was the main guy for Dortmund, like grew up there and always talk. And I told him, I say, man, you're talking too much. Be quiet. And back in the days, that people were like, it was not like now. You can look it on YouTube. It's out there. People filmed it, and I think everybody say that tackle was crazy because I just fly into him and I stand up and I know the ref will give me yellow and I'll just walk him back and give him the thumbs up like, yeah, I'm good, And so I think that was the one because there was a derby with Schalke Dortmund and the atmosphere was, good.
I'm definitely looking that up because I haven't seen that tackle yet. Jermaine Jones, thank you so much for your time and your insights and your feedback about what we can do better here. You're an absolute legend, and we wish you the best of luck in whatever's next.
We need you back in this country, JJ. So do your little sabbatical in Germany and then come on back.
I always say like I'm open for everything, but for right now, I'm really happy here. So I wish the country, like I said, I wish the country all the best, and I think there's a lot of stuff we can improve, but I think we should be a lot of stuff we should be proud of in maybe one day, maybe one day. Who knows?
Oh, look at you. You got to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. So if you want more average to good content, then you know where to go find it. Go peruse our channel, then hit like, then hit subscribe, and of course, turn on your notifications so that you never miss a show. We'll see you next time.